We're gonna do a song that you never heard before.
The volume.
Here they gonna get wicked. Here we go again.
Charlie V.
Sending my brother from another mother.
What's good, bro?
Man, I am cooling.
That's what's up, man. What's the weather out like there?
We had a randomly hot weekend. I mean, it was like 95 degrees for about 4 straight days after I initially thought we were going to be heading into some fall weather. Though, man, I've been loving it.
Dang, that's what's up, bro. We
Yeah.
we finally got some fall weather. I mean, the temperature tremendously dropped, and the thing was that for us, we've been out here in the dang 90s, you know what I'm saying? And so to be in 75, that's been lovely, bro. It's great, lovely to be in 75. Because I'm talking about you can start for real wearing the hoodies in the mornings because it's like super cool in the morning, and then it get kind of hot in the afternoon, but not too hot. So
Yeah.
quick question for you, bro. So I just saw this report that the president for the Clippers said the boy Kawhi might not be ready to go for the opener. And everybody, I mean, I know it don't surprise you, but the thing was there was so much controversy about him being pulled from Team USA. So I'm just wondering, boy, did they get it right, or like what's the chatter about this boy Kawhi? Did they let the wrong person go, bro?
Okay, so listen, I think that it's not that I think that they picked the wrong person, right? I think that in the end, I think when history writes the story of those two players, it's going to write it with Kawhi being the super duper star, right?
Right.
And so I think because of that, though, I think they were riding with the super duper star. So I don't know. But again, everybody's right when it comes to Paul George, bro. Everybody's right.
I know, but did they get it right about Kawhi? Because that boy can't even, he might not even suit up for the opener. And you got this new arena, and I don't know if their home opener, I don't know if what their stretch is, but they're just saying he won't be available for the opener. But that's just kind of crazy that the only star you're gonna have out there for your first home game is James Harden.
Okay, but here's the thing about it. When I say that everybody's right about Paul George, and you ask, did they get it wrong about Kawhi? No, they didn't get it wrong because they were right about Paul George.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if ultimately you think that Kawhi is the draw and you think Kawhi is still the number one, if that's what you believe, then I think that you got it right with Kawhi.
Yeah.
But you got it right by not going with Paul George as well.
Boy, you out here wilding. Anyway.
I think, but with that being said, here's what's funny. With that being said, I 1,000% agree that Paul George will have a better season than Kawhi Leonard.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I definitely believe so. I think for one, it's the whole new environment thing just makes you play better. You know what I'm saying? And just not having the same expectation because you got two other legitimate stars in the 76ers. You just re-upped on MB. Maxi's playing great. They are done with the James Harden saga. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you got a very capable championship winning coach in Mark Nurse. So
I got a question for you then.
What's up?
So Paul George now has been on the Pacers, Thunder, Clippers, and now the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any more pressure on him to win a championship now than any of the other teams that he was previously on?
No, because the pressure is on Embiid at the 76ers. Once
No. So set,
I,
set,
hold
set.
on,
Okay,
hold on.
no. Not. So let me rephrase that before you answer that. Let me rephrase that. And I want you to I still want you to tell me what, but I want to give you some context to it, right? The context to that is that given the situations of his trades and his movement, right? And where he was and was projected to contribute to those teams, is there any more pressure for him? When I say that, is to contribute to do what we know him to do more than any other time.
No, because he's the
Okay.
third option. The thing is that once he conceded, like you said, to say that he is the Robin, right? He's not even Robin. He's a third member of the Justice League. So my thing is he's just Cyborg now, right? So the thing is that because of that, the pressure is on Embiid because the process for the 76ers is with Embiid. That was the trust the process. That's the slogan that follows Embiid. That's Embiid's team. The blame is going to go to him just like it would LeBron. So no, Paul George is in a great position because he's at a great organization. He's the third option, so it's going to actually preserve his career a little bit more, which he needs in the long run. And the thing is that a lot of people are getting that long money. So it's not like he's just getting the bag and ain't nobody else getting the bag. We just paid iHeart 30 million a year. You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is like, nah, it's not more pressure for him to win. It's actually
You,
made it a little bit clearer. But look,
you know
man,
what makes
go ahead, go ahead.
no. We could talk about that another time.
I was gonna say we got a special guest, bro. So we gotta get this music popping off, and we gotta get our
Let's
special
do it.
guest on, and then we can continue the conversation and get into what we getting into. But let's get it.
Let's do it, man.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast
If you
of all time.
smell what the rock.
The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time.
Hey, listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages. We are live on both platforms at the same time. You click on the notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys and was doing a thing. I was getting tongue twisted real quick because I already had something in mind.
That's
Ace
what,
Kennedy.
bro. That being that this is football season, what that reminded me of is a receiver trying to make his first move before catching the ball. That's exactly what that reminded
Oh
me
my
of.
God. You know what that was? That's when that's even more than that. That's when the wide receivers, it always wide receivers, how they get right when they're about to cross the end zone and they drop the ball. And every time that's what it was though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, man, introduce our special guest, and we can just get this whole conversation popping up.
Hey, so listen, man. I'm very excited because this past Tuesday, no, I'm sorry, this past Friday, actually, dropped some new music on top of the world. Been kind of dropping a little bit of leaks here and there. With my Detroit shooter cinematic saying what up, though. So we got together, brought another nice Superfly visual, though, man. Bring my brother, oh man, cinematic visuals, though, man.
What up, though?
Hey, what's happening? What up, though?
What up, though? What up, though, man?
Bro,
Appreciate y'all having me on, man.
absolutely. You family. But it's crazy because I just couldn't believe that he didn't recognize from BMF that they kept saying that the whole time. I just couldn't believe
The
he
whole
didn't get
time.
Went over my head
Whole
every
time,
single
man.
time. Until you told me, I would have
yeah.
never. And I had to be like, I had to ask you. I'm like, yeah, it's such your thing. And I'm like, yo. And then now when I watch it, I see it. After that, I saw it every single time, though, man. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
y'all
man.
get
It's
into the project,
grew up
man. Like
saying that.
Listen, static. We talk about. Listen, this is our what fourth, fifth
something like that.
One of the two. I'm excited about this one, right? So where I would love to get your thoughts on this one. But for me, I'm excited about this one only because this particular song represents um a different direction or a different kind of body of work that I'm working on, right? And so I think that one of the things that I'm excited for is when this one is released. I'm hoping to have it released probably by sometime next month. And so with this one being one of the different, like when we usually do something, it's a Bel Air, right? Bel Air 1, the Bel Air 2. And so in every video you would see Billie Jean in it. And we were like, nah, let's set Billie Jean aside because this one isn't a Bel Air this isn't in the series of the Bel Air though. So with this particular project, I was very excited that this was the first of a first visual from that particular project that's coming on up. But I wanted to get your thoughts from the shooter's perspective, though, man.
Yeah, man. So, you were right about not having the Bel Air in there. I think it was apropos at this point in time to completely separate it, do something completely different. I don't know if you remember, well, know this, with the exception of the very first video we did, but most of our videos have been night shoots.
Yeah,
We've done
yeah,
a lot of night shoots or whatever, which can prove difficult when it comes to lighting. But
absolutely.
nonetheless, I'm glad that we were able to pull the Bel Air out and just do something different, right? And when we got on set, like I had no idea I was going to do the blue. I set the lights up. As soon as I put them lights on, I was playing around with the RGB and that blue popped, and we were just like, "Oh, the whole video is gonna be like this." And I'm so
Thanks.
glad that we stuck with it. That blue thing for me is real tough because Belly is one of my favorite visual movies, and I've always wanted to do something in that blue, and I'm so glad we were able to pull that off.
I think that one of the things that's funny is that we had when we were shooting the video for Sirius. Actually, I think Sirius is going to be on this one. So this is the second visual, though,
Okay.
right? But I think that this is the first one when I knew that it was going to be a thing. But when we had the idea of shooting Sirius nighttime video as well, red neon lights in front of the check cashing spot. And the first thing we saw when we looked at the playbacks was the reds was reddened, right? So
The
when we
red
saw the
was red.
blues was bluing, yeah, we saw that
Yep.
blue playback and we was like, listen, the blues are bluing right now, though, man.
100%, man.
Corey,
Yeah, it was a great shoot. What's up?
let me ask you this, man. Like you said, you guys have starting to build a filmography. Which one has been your favorite shoot out of all of them?
This one. This one's been the favorite because for me being kind of young in the game, right? Charlie can attest to this. I always look back to the very first shoot that I had, and I'll never forget how rocky that footage was, like just handheld. It was so terrible, right? And then the progression, right? And now I've upped my equipment, and I was so ready to use the lights that I have. That's why I was so excited because, color to me makes so much of a difference, right?
Mhm.
Background, whatever the case may be, and so this one was very exciting to me because I got to add the color. And then also, we were able to shoot on this rooftop because, the whole theme of the video was being on top of the world. So we wanted to have this thing like, he was on top. And the angles that we did made it seem like he was truly on the top of a building. So a lot of it was just so much more creatively just getting the ideas in your head and then literally bringing them to life. So this one was the dopest one to me, in my opinion.
Yeah. What I'm ready for y'all to do is I'm ready for y'all to have some storyboard in his videos because a lot of times, he's a performance video guru, which is fine because I mean, in the age of the way people view content, it's almost like why waste the time to do it because people are gonna watch. You spend the hours and hours and hours of shooting and then the hours of editing and you come out with this 3-minute project for people to view one time and then ask the question, when is the next one? So I get it,
Right.
but yeah, I'm ready. I mean, I think the first time that I had him doing a little bit of that was when we did perfect, not perfect, when I was out in Atlanta. That had a bunch of it had a story to it, and so it was a different shoot for him. But I'm ready for him to step off into that.
I think one of the things that's a little different as well is you talk about the climate of music, right? And nowadays, outside of that, it's more microwave, instant gratification on songs. Songs themselves are 2 minutes long, right? I was listening to a song. I had Landon on the ox and had a song that was like a minute and 15 seconds, and like I couldn't make out what they were saying, but aside from that, I'm thinking the song is just getting going and it's wrapped on up, right? So it's like I thought about it for this particular project. So this is the thing I think that's interesting, right? So I think that one of the things is I'm all in for doing storyboards, but I agree with you. I think that it's one of those things where I think that for all of the songs, at least for how I particularly write songs, by the time I'm done with the song, I would like to think, oh, okay, I have a visual in mind. Like there's a story that you can tell in mind. I think that a part of it doing a lot of the performance based videos is just trying to match the quick turn and burn of 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 microwave, like you said. Some I put out put out Texas Toast a couple of weeks ago, and somebody said when the next one drop, and I was like, golly, that one didn't even marinate yet, and I didn't even have a visual for it, right? So then I put this one on now, and I've gotten great feedback from the visual, from the song, everything. But everybody's already like, yo, when's the next one though? When the next? So I think that that's one of the things that I've seen that's quite different from the music industry these days, and a lot of these on location quick shoots and everything like that. And it's trying to stay along with that trend on this particular song though,
Yeah, yeah. No,
But
no.
to your point, Ace, my bad. I've been
No,
telling
you good.
Charlie,
You good.
I've been telling Charlie, like, we got to get a story popping. We got to get a story in there. I, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. There is the ability for us to do a short story, but also make it quick at the same time because I'm getting to the point now where, obviously, and I do more than music videos, but when I hear something, I immediately get a visual. My mind is racing with ideas, even if it's at the beginning of a beat or something. So I think at some point we certainly need to do a story because it needs to be told.
Well, that was the thing. It's not so because I know from his standpoint, he's coming from a place where he shot and edited his own stuff. So I get that it was
Right.
easier, it was quicker, but now he's with you and your brain, the way that you think and how you think in movies or how you think in short stories, like that's that market I want him to tap into just to have that experience of, so that because that's one of the things, right? While my songs might not necessarily be in the short form the way that the climate is, the stories you go back and rewatch those videos because of the story. Like I did a
Yeah.
video where I didn't do any performance at all. The whole thing was just a story and the song was the background. And and I know what he's doing and why he's doing it that way. I just want to see
Yeah.
that aspect.
I think
Yeah.
that one of the things that's funny when you talk about progression, because I remember on the first one that we did, and we walk it down on this. It was did the song "Addictive" on the Bel Air one. And so I'm walking down the road, right? And so we had this dolly and this tripod setup and everything. And we was like, it was still somewhat shaky. So I said, yo, Court, just go ahead and you could do it handheld, though, bro. We could just do it real smooth. Didn't have all the fancy equipment and everything now. So he was shooting out. We was going. He was like, nah, I think I got it though, bro. I think it's it. I got back and looked at that visual though, man. That footage was all shaky. I said, bro, what is going on with the hand? Now, what's funny about that is that the handheld shots are some of my favorite ones outside of the stabilizer and everything like that. The following me on that are some of my favorite ones, but I laugh because we still joke about that to this day. That thing, I mean, he thought for sure it was solid. I was like, nah, that
Yeah.
ain't the one, Doc.
Well, Court,
That's not the one. No, it's
outside of shooting Charlie stuff, what else do you have popping off right now?
yeah. So just I went through a refresh, right? So when I started cinematic visuals, and ironically enough, tomorrow marks 5 years that I actually started the business. It
Hmm.
originally was named Future Cinema. And then 3 years ago, I switched it up because I was like, I want to do something different. And I'm glad I did that. But then I went through a refresh because I originally, when I started Cinematic Visuals or did that part of it, I was only going to do music videos. But then I realized I was kind of pigeonholing myself. And so I did a refresh about 3 or 4 months ago. And now everything is new. So basically, cinematic visuals at this point goes from beats to brands. Like we're cinematic video production for indie artists, hospitality service providers, and lifestyle brands. So that's what our focus is now. And we're all about just branding people visually. And I think that's so important, whether that's short form stuff or whatever, that could be reels because reels have completely taken off, testimonial videos for certain brands and stuff like that, indie artists or whatever. Like I always want to kind of keep it grassroots, just because I know what it's like to grow that thing from the beginning. But that's what we're all about, man. We branched out, so we're from beats to brands, and that's what we focus on.
Charlie.
No, so let me ask you this though. Outside of that, what's your next? Now, of course, I'm always trying to get on your calendar as much as possible. What's the next big thing you got jumping off?
Right now, I'm just trying to get new clients, man. So I don't have anything on the books right now. So I'm just continuously shooting myself a lot, So I do my own social media content. So I shoot quite a bit myself. I guess I'll say this, like my wife, Copy Fresh, shout out to my wife. I'm now doing all of her content as well. So a lot of her stuff will be reels and then, YouTube channels coming up for her. So I'm going to start to shoot some of that content as well, but I'm still working on client work, man. This thing is new, man. You know what it's like, man, when you're just trying to get things going. And I know it's going to come. I'm just putting that work in right now, and I'm getting better and better as well as I'm going through this process.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, because it's like, obviously you and Charlie uh live out in the same area, so he gets to see you more. But when I run across the actual your reels and stuff on TikTok, or not TikTok, but on Instagram, I'm always blown away because it's just like I can't believe I know this dude. Like that's pretty crazy. Like how professional everything looks. Is when I say professional, like stuff that you would see from other creators, and to see that coming from you on the stuff that you're doing, I just think that's super super dope.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a lot of work that goes into it. I'm learning that perfection is not the outcome, it's the process,
Mhm.
and that's what I have to keep telling myself because it's kind of like as a writer, right? Writing is rewriting and shooting is like constantly reshooting, but I also have to realize like it doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm moving into that phase. But I appreciate that, you seeing that. Yeah, professionalism is that's one thing, and I can't be a cinematic video company and not produce cinematic looking stuff, right? So like there's this flair that I have to have with my content and even with other people's stuff. So Charlie, again, I want to thank you for trusting me with your videos and allowing me to, push stuff visually. And we're gonna continue to push it more and more and more. And we're gonna take this thing very, very far.
I think the one thing that I appreciate about working with cinematic is this, because I think that for me, right, I think that music to me is very full circle from a creative process, right? So for me, I tell people that um when we say that we are independent artists, I think that for us it's much bigger than what people think, right? So for us, it's a matter of, well, we produce 99% of all of our music. For me, it's 100%, right? So, after I've spent hours of just finding the right snare for a beat, right? Then I'm sitting here writing songs and then recording those songs, mixing, mastering those songs, right? And then, you kind of, as an artist, you think all of your songs are going to be that one, right? And so I think that one of the things that for me, having the one thing that I can appreciate is being able to feel like contracting that out, that at least one aspect of my creative life cycle out, right? And so for me to be a songwriter and you're writing stories, I find it refreshing that I can very easily trust that no, this I'm gonna let my man's do that, and I can be hands off doing all the other pieces of it, and it's one less piece of the creative cycle that I have to worry about, but also not having to worry about I'm slipping on quality, I'm slipping on the creative edge that I'm looking for, though, man. And so that's the one thing for me that I can say that I appreciate the most of working with my dude is just that piece of being my extra set of eyes on the full creative process, though, man.
Facts, facts, facts.
But look, man,
Yo,
we didn't
can
hype
we
it
fill
up.
it up? Can
Yep,
we do it?
let's see what we can do, bro. Let's see what we can do. All right, let me see here. I'm
Blues about to
tripping.
be blowing.
Blues is about to be bluing.
Blues is blueing, man.
The
Ladies
blues
and
is blowing.
gentlemen, Charlie Venus on top of the world.
He feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world, on top of the world, on top of the world. He feel like I done made it. I'm finally glad I made it. I feel like I'm on top of the world, and y'all, I promise. I need a cinematic visual, I'm doing numbers. I tried to tell you, man, I'm really good for the summers. I'm with them same niggas when Missy was driving Hummers. They put that holy water on my head in 17. Sometimes I dream about the tears of my enemies. My vibe is so infectious, everybody show me love. And them girls is more submissive when they see you getting dubs. My partner Blue, that made it home, I swear I'm so elated. Can't wait to see Jay make it home and tell them how we made it. Cause now I'm with my favorite people getting faded. Dropping fire music every year, no debate. I can't be persuaded, I've been on my shit lately. 4 words to live by, fuck you, pay me. I'm so Texas, tryna be so Texas. Call me Rick Rude all summer, I'm on flexing. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I done made it. I'm finally glad I made it. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I done made it. I'm finally glad I made it. My thoughts and prayers to the ones that really lost me. And telling people they know me, but still they doubt me. But y'all have finally came up and I ain't going back. They tried to kick dirt on my name when they know it's cap. They know it's cap. I swear the naysayers turned into believers. I got it out the mud, so I don't really need them. I do it for the love, cause I know I can't please them. So don't be mad at me, cause y'all I call it like I see. From the bottom of the barrel to the penthouse suites. Loyal only to my squad and they don't play about me. Yeah, I hustle hard and put in work and never gave up. And when you beat the odds, show the haters how you raise up. I feel like I'm on top of the world and I ain't going down. I ain't going back now. Heavy is the crowd when you feel you made it. I'm finally glad I made it. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I done made it. I'm finally glad I made it. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I done made it. I'm finally glad I made it. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. On top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I done made it. Finally glad I made it. On top of the world, on top of the world. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. Oh, I made it. Oh, I made it. I feel like I'm on top of the world, on top of the world. On top of the world, on top of the world. I made it.
Shot by Cinematic.
Hey, bro, let me tell you this, man. I tell people all the time, though, man. Like one of the things I think, if you're an independent artist, or if you are somebody who was just getting into rap, especially, I know it got to be the same way with R&B. But I think that one of the things that I tell people, you won't find anything more addictive than when you hear yourself sounding good, right? When you hear that professional and you think, no, this is how I meant for this song to sound, right? And it sounds even better because it's the professional. Nothing's more addictive. But the closest thing to it is when you see that visual tying it together, though, bro. Because listen, I always laugh because anytime we shooting anytime we shooting, we watching the playback. One of the first thing I say, he talking it, bro. He talking it, and I'm looking at myself perform it, and I'm thinking like, nah, that boy talking it, and that's when I know that I feel good in it, though, man. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the closest thing is to hearing it is seeing it, bro.
Man, this song, first of all, we had a fight about this song, and I'm so glad he finally accepted some input that I had about the song. But we fought about it for a minute, but I'm definitely glad where it ended up. But yeah,
What did
the
we fight
visual,
about?
uh,
Yeah, I want to
we
hear
What did we
this.
fight about?
bro, it's the same fight for every. You can just copy and paste the fight to any song. Charles, as creative as he is, and I'm talking about creative, right? He don't know keys and pitches and stuff like that. So when he sent me the song, the beat was in a different key, but he was still saying it in the same way that he's saying it. And I'm like, bruh,
Mm,
it don't sound. I said, this is a straight skip for me. And he was like, and he kind of sat back when I said that because it was like he knew the song was dope, and I knew the song was dope. I said, but it's two different songs fighting. I said, because this beat don't match the harmony that you're singing in the song. The melody to what you're singing doesn't match the beat. And so I said, send it to
mm.
me. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I sent it to him and I was like, listen, I'm just going to make my mix. You ain't got to like it, whatever, like that. And he actually hit me back, was like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought when you did the switch. And he actually kept it like that. So I was just like, all right, cool. Won that one.
See,
Couldn't believe it.
sometimes we'll have that conversation, right? And this is the tricky part, right? Because to me, right, because like, okay, so it's especially when it comes to me singing on a song, I already know I can't sing, right? But it's almost like when I'll sing it how I want it to sound, and once you get to where you're like, yeah, but it's not in the right key. You're off pitch, and I'm thinking like that's fine, but that's how I want it to sound, right? But then it's like if you put it in the right key, then it no longer has the same feel to it. That's why on I did a song on the Bel Air 2, Thick Thighs and Thin Patience, where I start the second verse and I say, Ace told me not to sing my own hooks no more. He said I'm always singing off key. And that was the reason why we have that same conversation. Because if I get to sing it, it's gonna be off key.
But Court, it's this bad. This is how bad it is. It's
Oh
so
boy.
bad that he wrote a song for me that's on my project, and I did my version, and he's like, "Nah, bro, it ain't it." And I'm like, "Listen." So he said, "I'm gonna put the same song out." So he's gonna put it on his project. I'm putting it on mine. So it's like the battle of the bands because
No way.
yes, because
Yeah.
he hears it the way he hears it. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
I have to sing it in the right key of the song that's presented. I can't sing it off key. That's not gonna work.
I'm gonna get my auto tune right on it. And I'm telling you that, and it's just listen, I think at court, this is the thing that's tough though, right? It's because as the writer of the song, right? I know how you interpret because you might go through and be like, dang, bro can't sing. Well, this is what I think he was trying to do. And a lot of times he's right, right? But then there are like certain songs that I'm so connected to where I'm like, I can't budge off of how I intended the song to sound, right? So I'm just like, nah, that ain't it though, man. And that ain't
Court,
it. And
there has been 3 songs that I have literally had to let go because we couldn't agree on how it was supposed to sound. This one I'm not letting go. I told him, I'm like, listen, bro, you can just skip that one on my album because this is how it's supposed to sound. So, like I said, just because of that, now he's putting it on his project. So we gonna have the same song on the project, and it's
oh
basically
man.
the battle of the bands for this particular
Wow.
song. I can't.
You know,
That's crazy.
I laugh because listen, I was in the studio with the homie PBR the other day. By the way, Court, I'm gonna have to send you this song to let you check it out, though, man. Dope, dope, dope song that I think, knowing how your mind works, I know that you're gonna see something to this, right? But we had this conversation because he was just like, yeah, man. He said, I'm surprised you and Ace don't got a joint album out or whatever. And I was like, bro, we can't even agree to songs like that. Like,
Um,
if it's a, yeah, I say it's just, it's been like that here lately, though, man. But it's because of auto tune. Auto tune got me thinking I can halfway sing decent, though.
wow.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it is fun. It is definitely. I mean, and we do have aspirations of doing a joint project in the future. It's just that right now, this this past year, no, I would say for the last 2 years, mentally, bro, it's been a struggle for me. You know what I'm saying? With everything going through with my wife, and it's been very difficult to record and just process everything. So now I'm finally in a place where I'm actively recording again. Like the ideas is generated. I have purchased things to help me with my creative. So even when I can't necessarily get there, it does it for me. And then so we're finally back in the process. So it's definitely in the works. But yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where it's gonna be like, listen, I'm presenting this song and he presenting this song. We just gonna have to collab it like that because yeah, it is definitely a process, but it's fun because I mean it's ours, you know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those
Yeah,
Right.
things like going back from when the moment because I was in meant to be, and when I called him, I was still in the military. I was in the hospital at work, and I just sat down in one of the patient areas and called him and said, bro, I'm done, I'm going solo. He was like, I'm all in, because we had already started writing and doing stuff together. We were writing songs with the aspirations of giving them to other artists or whatever like that. And the group, it was a whole different thing with the group or whatever. But anyway, once we decided to do it, we, the stuff of is past the statute limit of past us getting in trouble, should I say. We used to have the crack
Right.
versions of
Right.
everything. We had the crack versions of everything. And then we was like,
everything.
nah, we want to own. So we just bought piece by piece by piece by piece. And that's how it's been. So now we own everything. And it's great.
So that's what's up. I certainly
I
understand
think
that.
part of
And like I said,
I think that part of it
the
also,
truth.
man, that whole process is definitely it's one of those things that where even though we might have creative differences, right? It's still the owning of those creative things. Like, yeah, like, oh no, this is my idea wholly. No, this is our idea wholly. These are ideas that we've provided other people wholly. So I think that that's where, from that moment, I think that's where that ownership of your own creativity, right? That's where I think that we started to, because prior to that, man, I mean, I felt like we've always made music under somebody else's imprints, right? And I think that this, and even tying into the visuals, though, man, is where we kind of go full circle with this whole thing when it comes to being creatives, though, man. And so I think that that's why I think that, Courtney, from your perspective, though, man, from it being a very grassroots thing and building it brick by brick. It's that foundation where you are and starting that whole thing, and it gets bigger and bigger, and you grow and you continue to grow, though, man. Um, yeah, man, it's interesting, though, man. But I do love the that we do have very, because I think that there's a certain point where both of us are very not opinionated, but we're very sure of our direction creatively. It's like, no, creatively, this is where I want to go, right? And you're very sure of that. Well, you might feel that way on one thing, and I feel that way on another thing. And when it comes to collabing, sometimes we just don't get over our own differences to where then we're like, all right, well, I'm gonna put the song out on mine, you put it out on yours, and then that's just that, though, man. So yeah, it be
But
like that sometimes, I
the
suppose.
other thing though, man, is that my videographer that I work with here in Oklahoma City, similar to you, right? He comes from a background of filming short movies or movie, like that's the way he thinks. So the music video thing was very difficult for him. And but that also opened the lane for us to then connect with Charlie as far as because his brain is thinking music video where we're more focused on the story driven aspect of it, and then merging and marrying those two things. So it's but it's cool because again, it's a guy who wants to venture out and do more stuff and now has the opportunity to do that with working with myself. So yeah.
Word, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, yeah. We gonna get to these stories. It's coming soon, man. I know it is for a fact. We gonna get these stories popping, and these visuals gonna get better and better.
My Detroit shooter cinematic said, "What up, though?"
What up, though? What up, though? Yeah,
And
man. I appreciate it. And remember,
listen,
before you say that, the phrase that you coined in that song, that phrase is gonna live on.
yes,
You know what phrase
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
phrase has to live on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's funny though, man, because we got. Listen, I laugh too though, man, because once we came into the studio before, had my guy on the mic. Soon as he heard the voice, he went in rap mode. Then I said, "Oh yeah, he got to get it. He got to get all the way in now, though, bro." My guy said, "Hold on, let's get a little comfortable behind this thing, though, bro." I think that's something I still would love to see us do, though, man. That's gonna be real fire,
Yeah, it's coming. Well, I recorded the drop, so that was dope. So now the drop is gonna be at the end of the videos from here on out, and got that all done. But yeah, that taste of being behind that mic, it's a rush of dopamine for sure.
though. Hey, cinematic. If people want to reach out to you, connect, man. How can they do so?
Yeah, so on IG it's at Cinematic Visuals, my website cinematicvisuals.com. I'm not on TikTok like that, but yeah, I'm all on IG. So yeah, at Cinematic Visuals, and that's Vizuals with a Z. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, hey, listen. You got some time to stick around.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, listen. We got some things we want to run down, bro.
Okay.
We might as well
Hey,
tackle the
Kennedy.
big topic, man.
Let's talk about this. Kim Porter. The memoir, the tell all book, was released the other day, right? Very scathing accusations. I always think about that when I think about the Rick Ross and the Big Swerve. Accusations, false accusations. But listen, I didn't read it, but I did follow somebody on TikTok who did a very top tier chef's kiss summarizing of this particular book. Went through and said, listen, this is everything you need to know. And I don't think she missed very many details though, bro. And I think that part of the thing that got me the most was that in the book, she is saying names, not in roundabout ways. She is naming names, though, bro. And it's very specific. Hey, Kennedy, so for starters, here's what I'm wondering. We've been going back and forth and just talking in general and saying, is this boy gonna make it out of this whole thing, right? All the charges. And even if he does, if he does get out of the criminal aspect of it, so he's not charged criminally and he never does a day in jail. There's no way, given that if there's an ounce of any truth in this particular book, that he's ever the Diddy as we remember Diddy to be publicly.
No, but he'll never be. But that's the thing. He wasn't the Diddy that we knew today anyway. Um, this is the thing. While the book or the summary of the book, because I listened to it as well, while that was entertaining, I have to, this is the thing. This is the only problem I have with it. It's the timing of the book drop because my thing is Kim has been deceased now for quite some time, and you would have thought if that was something that she had on the horizon that would have come out earlier. And then some of the stories that were in there just they sounded super fabricated to me.
What
uh
stories?
I mean, there. So talking about the stories with Jay-Z and the conversations that they had about his involvement with the death of Tupac and Biggie, and how Biggie and Tupac were actually planning to come out with a record label together. you know,
So
just
wait a minute. Just to set this up to give more context. Cinematic. Was she based in this book? Kim Porter is recanting conversations that she had with Diddy or that she was privy to in the room with them, right? And in this particular segment of the book, she basically says that in this conversation, Jay-Z and Diddy were talking because after Biggie had died, basically, or maybe I don't know if he had
was
died by
before.
then.
Yeah, it was
Um,
before because he was
was
saying that he
before.
wanted his spot.
Yeah, yeah, he was basically saying, like, yo, I'm tired of being Biggie's little bro. I want the number one spot, basically. So it's implying that Jay-Z was also conspiring as well, or at least being an advocate for Diddy, who is
Mm,
basically setting up or being very much involved in Biggie's untimely death because he found that Biggie was going to leave Bad Boy. And oh, by the way, he was going to create a record label with Tupac, which I had never heard that before, right?
yeah,
And
That
me
they,
neither.
but the significance of that though is because there was a rift between Tupac and according to this book, allegedly, that Tupac used to sleep with Kim Porter, and then there was an instance where Diddy knew that they were sleeping together, and so they were at a party or something together. And Diddy was like, "Nah, let's see who can put it on the best, like like right here and right now." And Tupac was like, "Nah, I ain't doing none of that." And so that's where the beef for them started. And so there was a plot then to when Tupac got shot and they found him in the elevator, didn't call the ambulance for him, and this, that, and the other. And that's kind of where the beef was going.
she's basically implying, not even implying, she's basically saying that Diddy was very infatuated with Pac. Like she was all and I think that he was almost feeling some kind of way that Pac was basically kind of like get on out of here, basically though, man. Because prior to this point, though, right? I guess it seemed like anybody who Diddy wanted to have these kind of relationships with he eventually did on some level or whatnot, though, man. But I think that one of the things that was very interesting, though, right, is that when I said she was naming names, right, where that makes me believe that there could be somewhat some truth in there, and we're saying allegedly, right? But she also basically said that, hey, you know what? As part of me being in my relationship with him, it was we had all kind of sexual activities. It almost always included them having very many threesomes. One of the people that she mentioned was Mary J. Blige, right? And this is where I've
Wow.
always heard Mary J. Blige say, "Oh yeah, this is Puff's my bro, right? He's my brother." And she was just like when Diddy brought the idea to her, she was like, "Oh yeah, Mary J. Blige was hot. She was popping at the time. Boom, yeah, we got down." She also went on to say that um, when Diddy had brought to her, I guess they dated and they broke up. So when he was about to start dating J Lo, he had went and broke it to her like, "Hey, you gonna see this come on up that I'm dating this girl? It's just a publicity stunt on my end." And she was like, what do you mean? It's the he was like, she said it's to hide that you're really gay, right?" And so she was just like, whatever. She wound up putting the beats on her after that or whatever. But ultimately, um, so fast forward when the whole Shine thing happens, right? She says no. Diddy comes up to her and she's telling her about it, and J Lo pulls on up, and J Lo's like, "Nah, I'm not going to jail behind this. My lawyers ain't with it. Whatever, whatever." And Diddy's like, "Nah, Shine is gonna go ahead and cop to this. We solid. He a soldier. Shine is gonna basically cop to everything, and we gonna get on by to this thing, scathing, free of anything, right? No one has to do anything, right?" And then so she was just like, so Kim says, "Well, what about Shine? He's your replacement for Biggie. He's your number one." And he's just like, what's talent that can come a dime a dozen. That's nothing at all, though,
Mm.
right? And
But
after he's saying all this, he proposes them three have a threesome. Him, J Lo, and Kim Porter. Like that was his thing, apparently, though, man.
I mean, it got so weird to where it was like she was supposedly 9 months pregnant and then she was getting gang banged. like that
Damn.
far. But the other thing
Really?
was when she was finally to a point where she was fed up, what she started doing was while he was asleep, she found out where he was keeping all of these tapes and stuff. And so she would go in there into the room and make dub copies of it or replace it with other tapes and stuff like that. And that's when she found out about the underage boys. And at the time, supposedly was like uh uh Justin Bieber, Usher, and
Oh,
Bow Wow. But they was
Bow
mainly
Wow. Yeah. She
so
was
I mean,
named.
Damn.
And this is what I think that was the crazy part about it. She says that she was basically like disgusted that it almost seemed like Diddy had been trying to get his hands on Justin Bieber for a while, and that at some point Usher, as part of being his manager or being Bieber being signed to him, Usher had guardianship, and she basically said that that Usher handed him over to Diddy and basically provided him like 48-hour guardianship, legal guardianship of Justin Bieber, though, bro. Basically, though, because he had been trying to get in on Bieber for a while. And it's weird because when you go back, right, and when you look at there's video of Bieber and Diddy getting together and they're supposed to be doing some music stuff, and it looks a little awkward, right? And then you go back a little bit further when you see that when Diddy had that one almost like a little Freudian slip up where he was talking to Kevin Hart when he was like, yeah, me and Usher, this is somebody who we slept in the same bed with. And it's just like, wait a minute, bro. Like it feels like the pattern is saying that he was kind of grooming though, bro. Like maybe he groomed Usher to then groom Bieber though, because Usher then goes on to delete like 500 text tweets from the other day. Like listen, bro, it looks like I know that we're talking to legend, but all of this seems very possible though, man.
yeah, but I just like I said, I'm just questioning the legitimacy of it from the standpoint of why was it released now? Who had it? Who released it? How did it come out? How can we authenticate? Because I think the FBI or who the feds or something like everybody's investigating it because it just recently came out and it's doing well. But it's just
Yeah.
like, where is the manuscript coming from? Like, where is all of the information coming from? It'd be different if they
Fanatic,
had,
what what say you?
So I didn't know about the book, but the timing, of course, is impeccable, obviously, because a lot of eyes are going to see it. So we don't really have to question the timing. I guess the question I have is it from her estate? Because if these are supposed to be firsthand counts from her, there has to be some quote unquote legitimacy behind it or whatever. That's the question that I would have.
So let me tell you this though. So apparently her and Kamora Lee Simmons were very close.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they got down. I think that she said that that he was trying to get them down or whatever though, right? But she basically said, no, this was my best friend and I trusted her. And so she basically said, hey, if anything ever happened to me that was suspect, that she would basically have the passwords to everything to be able to put anything to light, right? And so I think that when she died from pneumonia like symptoms, right? Then that's what gave them, and she sent them a text like, yo, he got me. That was the words. And I think that that was something that was public and put out there. Like, this was her last words basically was like, yo, he got me. That was her sign to say, okay, boom, we going to move forward with this, right? But I think that the part that was interesting is that she ends up dying from like they said pneumonia. She also went on and said she had two boyfriends that she dated after Diddy that also died from pneumonia. Like she basically said Puff is setting on up to kill him. And she was also saying that on one time she was talking about leaving him and he comes through, put the gun on the table, and it's like, nah, you ain't leaving me. You in this. This is us. I can't live without you, whatever. And then he was like, nah, I'm just playing. Because if I was going to kill you, it won't be with a gunshot. It's going to be with something that you would never know. It would be something put in your drink. It would be something or whatever, whatever, though, man. And so it's like the fact that she died in that same exact way that she accounted in that story, though, bro, is what makes everything seemed that much more sensational. But I think that this was basically a book that she had started doing. And I think that it was also what it sounds like is that when she was trying to fully move on from him and he knew that she had the tape, I think that he also got wind that she could be possibly doing some kind of tell all book. And that's what people are basically saying. The timing of the book coming out is no different from Don Richards, right? From Danny
Right.
Kane coming out after the fact, right?
Yeah.
After everybody came out after Cassie, then people started to come out
Yeah.
with it. I don't think this is any different from that, though.
I do think it's different because of the fact that Don Richardson is still alive, and the timing is perfect for her because of the fact people are willing to listen to these
Mhm.
testimonials now. But you're talking about, like I said, from what Courtney was saying, was this from the estate? And that's the part that I'm, because if it was like, no, if Diddy ever gets indicted, release this. Like if that was something within a will or something like that, or
Yeah.
that that's where I'm coming from. It just feels, but even like I said, listening to, again, this girl is recounting the story as she's read the book or whatever. And she did a phenomenal job on her recap or whatever. But just listening to certain things, some of that stuff just seems super duper fabricated. But
Let me tell you what I think was interesting, right? I think that the part that was interesting is when she mentioned that her and Diddy used to sleep with Will and Jada regularly, right?
mhm,
And I think that the
Wow.
part that got me, yeah, this is she is naming names, right? And then she
Wow.
also go on to say that
she enjoyed
that
being with Jamie Foxx. That's what, according to
yeah,
her.
yeah, like they all like the three of them got to they also had a threesome with Jamie Foxx and that she enjoyed it. And that was the reason why Diddy and Jamie Foxx basically had their issue that I think was a kind of a public thing that people would say, but Jamie Foxx also had the little flu-like symptoms, pneumonia-like symptoms. So when people were like, "Hey, Diddy may have got him," it was very consistent with all of the other accusations behind Diddy and try to get people picked off or whatnot, though. But yeah, she said that. She said that one of the things that I think is the part that I don't think that he'll ever be able to come back from musically, right? Is that she basically in this book, she basically describes that Diddy single-handedly was the source and the cause of the whole East-West beef. Not just necessarily the deaths of Biggie and Pac, but the initial part of it as well, right? So everybody always talks about the Jimmy Henchman shooting of Tupac and everything like that, though, man. Everybody always talks about all these other aspects. She was like, nah, that was on the go from Diddy. Diddy called that play in, right? So the initial shooting of Tupac when they were in the studio, right? Because she said that they were going up to the studio and they come down the studio and they come down to Pac basically laying in a pool of blood and everything like that. And he survived it or whatnot. But then when they went on to release Who Shot You, and they try to make it seem like when I say they, it was almost like it was implied that, oh no, this was already a song that was in works and everything here. And she was like, nah, that was all part of a plan to capitalize on Pac getting shot because of the fact that he Diddy already had his issues with him behind Kim Porter. And so what was also wild about that is that so then it goes a bit further, right? Because then they said that he was also involved and and Pac was and so Diddy was like, yo, when he said, I can't believe how much money we making off of this beef. We need to keep this thing basically going though, right? I can make way more money off it. And that's when they came up with the idea or the plot to kill Biggie because they were like, well, hell, we can make more money than ever. And again, to Diddy, if it's just talent, you can replace the talent. And so she was like, yo, this is your man. So nah, you got other people. He ain't got nobody. It was just you. Um, what I think was also very interesting about this is that we talk about names because when Biggie died, right? Talk about this conversation of when Biggie's mom came to him with but a, a little while later, Faith Evans comes into the scene, and Faith basically was like, "Yo, what's happening? You know, I got a kid with this dude." He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna take care of you. You gonna be straight," because apparently he was already also smashing her too. I think Big had threesomes with Faith Evans. So what made Faith's thing that much crazier, right, is that Faith was basically with Biggie as a favor to Diddy. It was a way to control him. She basically said, "Nah, I got." He was. It was almost like, no, Diddy got Faith to be in this relationship with Biggie so that he can have control and manipulate it because he had already been smashing Faith basically. But she also says, yeah, when they have this conversation, she was like, "Wait a minute, you set them on up," and she was like, "Yeah, I had basically have Faith sleep around with Pac also, right?" And so then you think
Mm.
about Hit 'Em Up when he was like, "You claim to be a player, so I smashed your wife." Like that was also one of those things that it's like allegedly, right? That is truth though, bro. It's so many things in this book, bro, that lines up perfectly to me that explains all of these conversations that have been had over the years, though, bro, to where to me, I know that you might think that it's kind of sensationalized and that it may be embellished a bit, but how the story, what's being told makes perfectly sense to me, though. Perfectly good sense to me.
And that's wild. And you also got to think too, like Kim Porter was beloved, right? So, when she died, that was tough, right? Because of who she was, right? So the fact that now the book is out and I guess, the details of who wrote the book and published it, they'll come out at some point, right? I know people are probably scouring who did it.
It
Uh,
already came out, bro.
okay.
Yep, it already came out. I already looked into it.
Well,
Oh, wow.
here's the thing that I think that's interesting, though, right? Another aspect of this, right? I think the part that is a an overarching theme, and this is one of the things that me and my wife get into, not get into it about that we kind of see different. Um, is that like even when it comes to Cassie, right? When he was putting them paws on Cassie, and everybody was like, "Yo, you was with him for like 10 years." You know what I'm saying? Like you could have been left. You could have been. He put them hands on you and everything. And I think that the part that she has as this overarching theme of this book, bro, is how manipulative he can be over them, but also how he will very easily wield whatever power he has. So it was like it was nothing at all for him to throw it around. So you wonder, like you're a grown ass woman, you could have just walked away, and it was just like walking away isn't as easy as it sounds. I think that that's one of the main themes of this particular book because you look for explanations for her to say, "Well, dang, you know what? You was with him." Um, this is the other thing that was crazy too. You was with him after you was with Al B. Shore. You apparently have a threesome with him and Al B. Shore, right? And then um, you still go on after he was putting the beats on you. You separated from him, got back, and then still had kids with him back to back. So it's like you might look at it and think you had opportunities plenty to lead, but I think that she kind of elaborates on exactly why it was difficult for her and not as easy though, bro.
Yeah.
Dang, Ace,
It,
I just saw
listen,
that. Like, I just saw what you put in there. Like, so the author admits that he isn't sure the story is real, but it's real enough. Yeah, see,
Yeah,
okay,
it's one of those things. Like I said, just without even finding those things, right? Just listening to certain things that she said, it just doesn't line up. Like I get it. People are different on camera than they are behind closed doors in those particular
right.
circles. But just some of the stuff that she was saying, like what really stood out to me was when she was quote unquote dying, and then she wrote these like the last thing she needed to do was get a couple of these lines out. That's when it was just kind of like, I don't know that that's what
Seemed like a
happened.
movie though. They like it
Yeah,
happened in the
yeah,
movie, huh?
yeah. Just the like, even if I didn't believe anything, or if I believed everything else, when she got up to the ending of it, like when she knew she was probably gonna die, and it was like, well, hold on, let me get these last words out before I pass, and it was just like, that's when it just really
Yeah,
was just like, nah. But
Hey,
that
listen,
do
man.
sound a little
This is
sus.
what I said. If he go on to sue this dude, right? If you go on and you sue this guy and you win, right? Maybe you have some grace. But listen, for this is the thing I think. For a 59-page book, I think though you do. Hey, listen, if he is just fabricating this whole thing up, I think that even still, it is a masterful, creative way. Because listen, it totally answers all of the questions that people have had about Diddy over all the years, unlike I've ever seen, bro.
I get that. But this is the thing though. This is gonna sound crazy. This is gonna sound crazy, but hear me out. If Diddy comes out of this uh court case and he's found not guilty for a lot of the bigger things like the trafficking and this, like all the stuff, they can say, oh no, this was this person's gun, it was actually registered to him, and I was storing it, whatever. Like if he can get past the bigger stuff, right? And just the stuff that's left is like the sex parties, not necessarily the underage or the drug, the drugging up, but everybody was there, was consensual, right? If it gets to just those points, he will survive. In
Yeah, I agree.
2024, in 2024, nobody cares about people's sexuality like that. If this had to come out 30 years ago, it would have affected. But now that it's 2024, it, Diddy could do a party today and people would show up.
See, this is where I slightly disagree with you.
Okay?
I think that he can survive it in the sense of, yeah, he won't do anything criminally if he doesn't go to jail. Because listen, there's never been anything criminal about being a freak. If you just like to get nasty in your bedroom, there's nothing criminal about that until you start talking about underage. But if you say no, we removed all that and we proved that to not be true and that he skates on those particular charges, I do agree with you that all right, that's just it. But the thing I don't think, bro, that I don't think that as a man who is masquerading as a straight man, right, can just be found to be gay and survive that in hip hop. And I say
Charles,
that to say this.
go
Like,
ahead.
wait. I say that to say this. I'm not talking about like Saucy Santana. I'm talking about once you find out that no, that this person is, I don't think so it's weird because while I agree with you that it shouldn't be a thing in 2024, in hip hop, it still is a very taboo thing. And I just don't see how he bounces back from that,
But
bro.
Charlie, that's the thing. The Diddy that we grew up on is not the Diddy of today. The last project we got from Diddy was the Love album, which was pure R&B, right? And so
Yep.
you got August Alsina doing his thing. That's kind of that flip flop. Like R&B is a little more fluent, right? So that was the last lane he was in. Plus the Dwight Howard stuff that just happened, like nobody's even talking about that anymore, right? So
But
what
he's
I'm
never been the
saying,
same. Neither one of them have been the same.
they haven't been. But what I'm saying is the Diddy that we grew up with, the one that we knew from Bad Boy with Big and all of that, it's not the same Diddy, bro. So that's why I'm saying like he would survive it in 2024.
I think he is. I think he is still the same, bro. I think that the Diddy, I think that he's an older Diddy that has the same lure that I think the younger Diddy had. He's just more seasoned. I think that he's, if anything, right, I think that he's more of the Diddy we knew than back then. He just isn't as much of a front person in terms of the music, but I think that in terms of the front person with hip hop music, But I think that people still like it wasn't until like probably 2, 3 years ago that Kanye was basically saying no. But before he fell out with Diddy, he said no. Diddy's my mentor. I would run my music by him. Diddy helped produce some of Jay Z's American Gangster. Diddy was very actively involved with Rick Ross. Diddy was very much actively involved with French Montana. So I get what you're saying in terms of him not being the same Diddy from way back in the day. But I'm just saying that in terms of music and him being a behind the scene, you know, player like that, I think he's just as relevant today as he was before. But I don't know that he can be. I don't know how you can, even if all of that stuff is that he's cleared criminally. I don't know how any artist would line yourself. It would be like lining up with R. Kelly now.
No. What I'm saying is this, ain't Courtney. I'm gonna let you go because I'm going to get your feedback on it too. I'm
Okay.
he is not this. No artist has to align themselves with him, right? Like I said, the last album he released was an R&B album. He even said his new focus, because he got famous again with his line of R&B is dead, right? From that point on, his focus was straight R&B. He wasn't attached to hip hop albums no more. So what I'm saying is in 2024, if he stayed in that lane, he's not the same Diddy that we knew. That's all I'm saying. But Court, what's your thoughts on it, bro?
Yeah, I agree with you, Ace. I think that he maybe possibly can come out of this. It's going to take a lot, but we're forgiving people anyway, right? I mean, people have done over these last couple years have done some crazy things. And it's like as time goes by, just like you said, the news cycle will fade away. And to the R&B thing with Diddy, you're right. Like that album was pretty dope. Honestly, like that R&B, it was pretty dope. So like
It was
he
though. I'm not
found a
gonna cap.
niche. I mean, it's like it was right. So it's like he was able to shift gears, and that with withstanding the whole mess he's got going on, he can still be relevant musically. He just has to get past his hurdle, and then also too, right? His whole persona, right? Then he Wouldn't he call himself Love, right? So now he was all about love and all, right? So in order for him to, he gonna have to really lean on that, right? But that was his whole thing: is let's love one another, let's just be happy and peaceful. That was his whole persona. He wasn't that early on. That wasn't
I'm
Diddy
glad
when
you
we
said
grew
that.
up.
I'm glad you said that. But that was when we didn't see the video of him dog walking Cassie in that hotel.
No.
Like
True that.
I get that,
listen,
Charlie. But here's the thing: Do you honestly believe? Do you honestly believe that if Tory Lanez got out of jail, that artists won't work with him?
it's different. I think that so to me, I think that artists will work with Tory Lane, but I think that that's a different thing.
It's so a man can shoot at a woman allegedly, according to what whatever.
If he gets out, it's because he didn't do that, and they found to not do that. And the reason I'm gonna say this, the reason why I say that is this: it's the reason why Chris Brown hasn't performed at a Super Bowl or an All Star event. It's they will hold putting them hands on a female and being found that is something that's video done
I'm glad
forever.
that you brought that up. I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm so the thing is, yes, publicly the society won't support him, but it sure ain't affecting his concert sales. You know what
Because
I'm
he
saying?
touring like crazy
And
and
so
he's
what I'm
selling
saying
out.
is, yes, so the point I'm making is if Diddy was to have a party today, based upon if those big things were removed, people would still show if they because even though they know what type of parties they are, people would show up because the thing it's just like this, right? The day before he got arrested, right? When he was in New York, people were still out taking pictures with him. So we saw the Stevie J video. He walking on the beach, people still walking up wanting to take selfies with him. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
listen.
Go ahead.
If people go to the parties with him now, do you go to the parties to be a part of the freak offs?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So you go
If-
knowing it. So now you taking pictures on the gram
right.
and you saying, I know the freak offs is gonna happen. I'm out
It's
here
it's
for it.
it's already out there. What I'm saying is it's already out there, right? And if it's all if he had a thing where it's like, look, you got to sign these papers saying that you are consenting to being a part of this. And if people, bro, I have learned a lot of stuff about conventions of people that are of the freakish nature. There's a lot of conventions and a lot of things in place for people of that nature. So my thing is for a black man, a famous black man, to have something jumping off like that, it's a whole different lane for him. Like that, you look at what you look at how X is allowing for more freedom. There the
Yes.
online
No holds
communities,
barred.
right? It's no holds bar. The is and you have to sign that you saying you 18 and can view the content, whatever. But even still, just like OnlyFans and everything, like there's just too many different things out there now. If he decided to go in that lane, people would show up for it, bro.
I think where I don't disagree that some people will, right? I'm just telling you that I don't think it would be what you think it would be, only because I just don't know. It would be too damaging of your brand, depending on how much 1,000 bottles of baby. Listen, but I still might have the baby oil from when Landon was born from 15 years ago. The same one bottle of baby oil that I put in his hair then. 1,000 bottles. And so this is my thing. Listen, even
No,
if that's the
you're
case,
saying,
the
see now,
perception. No. I'm saying perception.
right?
So perception, and my thing is this: I just don't know how when you say, "Oh no, I'm still having my parties, I'm doing my thing." It's like, all right, well, yeah. Now I think that nobody wants to be attached with the taboo.
Charlie,
That's what
you
I'm
and I are
saying.
talking two different things. You're talking about more of the masses. I'm talking about being relevant and still able to function, right? The thing is that no, he won't. Diddy's not gonna be on no Super Bowl. He ain't gonna be performing at the Super Bowl. He ain't gonna be guest starring. He gonna be under the mask for Mask Singer. He ain't doing none of that stuff. He doesn't have to, because what I'm saying is Chris is very successful even without all of that stuff. And he knows he's blackballed from that, right? He openly talks about it, and he can do that because he has a section of community that is so supportive that he is still successful. Yes, he doesn't get those looks anymore for that stuff. And Diddy will never get the looks for that stuff either. But he can still be relevant and popping in this community. All it's going to take is two things. One, that he's got to be found not guilty for some of the bigger things like the underage stuff and something like that. And the other thing is another scandal comes out with dealing with somebody else. That's all it's going to take. Because once a new scandal comes out,
Hmm.
people are going to sink their teeth into that.
I don't put this. I think that where where Chris Brown gets not the pass, but where I think that Chris Brown is able to live and thrive is that this happened when he was 19. He's like 34 now, right? So I think that this is the thing. I think that Diddy's things have now been found to possibly been, oh, this is everything that you've heard, the salacious stories about him. It's all true. If that comes out to be the case, not the underage stuff. I'm talking about all the part. I'm upset. I don't know. Yeah, you can put out music. I'm just saying that I don't know that he's gonna be the. I don't know that he can be the face of any brand. Revolt. I don't think that you're
Again,
gonna be
we've
the.
already
Well, you can.
again, you're
It's
saying
already,
everything that I'm
yeah,
saying. We already I
yeah.
said that. He's not gonna be the face of any brand. It doesn't that he doesn't have to be. Because the thing is like even though Chris Brown had happened at 19, he still can't get the Super Bowl stuff. He still can't get the NBA stuff. He can't get any of that, right? But artists are still working with him. His concerts are still selling out. So he's still very successful in doing the stuff that he's doing. He just will never get the FaceTime of the corporations. It's done for that for Diddy, regardless whether he's found guilty, not guilty from all of that. It ain't like he gonna get the revolt stuff back or anything like that. That stuff is done. But I'm talking about still being able to make money and be creative and still doing stuff. All it's gonna take is for a little bit of time to pass and for another scandal to come out, and he'll be all right.
I don't think so, man.
I agree.
I don't.
I agree.
I understand. No, I understand what you're saying. But the minute that they see that creative thing, whatever it is, and they see the name Sean Combs with it, it's too stained to me, though, bro.
We saying the same thing, bro.
I get that.
we are
It's,
saying
no,
the
it's
same thing.
like no. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. R. Kelly couldn't get out of jail right now. And listen, wait. If they came out and they said right now, all of the charges that we filed, the criminal charges on R. Kelly, are all that he's been found innocent of the criminal, right? The civil stuff is one thing because those girls have already came out and said, "Oh, these things all were true," or whatever. But if the criminal aspect comes out of it, I don't see that I don't really see how with R. Kelly that he would be like, "Oh, well, just give us another chocolate factory, give us
And you
another
know why? And you know why?
TP2.com."
And you know why? Because R. Kelly was on tape with a 14-year-old girl.
Right, but
What
right.
I'm saying, hold on. But what I'm telling you, you're saying people won't be able to get past the fact that he was on Cape whooping up on what's her name? On Cassie, right?
Yeah.
When just the day before he was arrested, he was walking around and people were doing what? Taking selfies and pictures with him. And this was after they saw the tape. So what I'm saying is, again, the corporations, no, not gonna happen. But the people is different, and that's what's happening to Chris Brown. That's all I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. I think that fundamentally we're looking at it two different ways and making two different points about something that we're not. You talk about what you talk about, and I'm talking about what I'm talking about, and we're not crossing them.
And we're
I get
saying
what
the
you're
same
saying.
thing. We
Yes,
we really are.
yes.
But anyway, bro, listen, great show. Court, we thank you so much for first of all blessing my brother again with another incredible video and blessing us
Yes,
with
sir.
your time and your talent. And we are the Slash Brothers. That's Charlie Venus. I'm Ace Kennedy from ATL to OKC. We appreciate
That's
y'all.
cinematicvisuals.com. Check your stuff out, though, man. Dope website.
Yes, sir. And we out.
Peace.
It doesn't matter what your name
The
is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
Can you
of
dig
all
it,
time.
sucker?